Hello, happy Wednesday, friends, fans, and followers. This is our second episode of Just What the Holistic Nurse Ordered. So, the link to my website is below, and it's also a Q&A button. That's the first time I'm using it, so let's see if it works or if I can see your comments, or just pop a question in the comment section. And notice when you're there, to the right of the comment bubble, is the star option. So I love collecting stars. You want to share some stars with me for a small fee. It helps me to keep bringing this amazing content to you, right? So thanks for that ahead of time. And I do have some special gifts for the first 3 fans, followers, or friends that send some stars. So there you go. Hit the star. Tonight, I'd like to talk about some basics. Holistic. What is holistic? What is alternative? And what is integrative? They each have different meanings, and I find that they are used in a lot of different ways and are not typically, sometimes not used in the exact definition way, if that makes sense. So let's start from the top. Someone who is offering therapies or techniques or remedies that are presented as a substitute or an option instead of medical treatment is considered alternative treatment, right? Or it's a personal choice that you have decided to use another avenue, another treatment, another drug for treatment of whatever label or symptom you're looking for. So you're using that treatment or a drug, I don't like that word, but anyway, using that option as a replacement for traditional medical treatment. So for example, if you need radiation and you decide to go to Machu Picchu instead, that's an alternative treatment, right? And that's the way that it's used. That's the way that your option is used. Now, if you decide to use some of those options along with your medical treatment, that's considered integrative. And that's what I like to do, is explain that using these techniques that complement the body's health, that improve the immune system, can be integrated into your medical routine. You don't have to leave out the medical physician or medical team. So here's where I throw in my disclaimer, right? So anything that we talk about here is not meant to replace your primary care provider. In my years of experience, though, integrating these techniques that we talk about from here on definitely have a way of improving your response to anything medical that you've chosen to do, right? So what is holistic then? Holistic, in its pure definition, means that that a practitioner is in recognizing that the body is not separate from the mind and the thoughts and the spirit. So if you have a symptom and your mood is consistently low, let's say, that has an impact on your symptoms and how you recover or how you respond to the treatment of those symptoms, right? So there's a lot of practitioners I've found over the years that say they are holistic, and they might substitute that word instead for a bunch of nutraceuticals. Instead of pharmaceuticals, they're using nutraceuticals. And some of you may have experienced this, where all of a sudden now we have bills to pay for all these nutrients and pills that were prescribed for you, right? And so my take on nutraceuticals, just as a quick aside, is that's not the be all end all, and that doesn't include recognizing your thoughts and your feelings and your behavioral patterns and your habits. All those things interplay in the presentation of symptoms as well as the treatment of symptoms. So again, holistic is looking at body, mind, and spirit. And if you see a practitioner that has that on their label or their window, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask what that means for them, right? So that you know where they're coming from. If it's just to push some nutraceuticals, or if it's actually to get you to think about what else is impacting your symptoms. So for example, acupuncture. Typically, most practitioners of acupuncture recognize that when they're using those needles in the specific points, that there's energy there that is affected by your thoughts and feelings, right? In my experience, anyway. And if you've had different experiences, feel free to jot them in the comments, and we can look at those. I don't see anyone here yet. So, what else? There was a question last week about stress management techniques, and now there are many. Again, those can be very integrative with your health care plan, but also if you're considering some of these options, make sure you make them a priority. You know, you want them to be a priority. Self-care is a priority, not a luxury. It's almost becoming more of a necessity than a luxury, because if you're not well, then you can't continue to do all the things that you expect to be able to do, usually for other people. Just throw that in there. So what can you do as a holistic stress management technique? There are many. So the thing that I usually offer for people is find some things that you really like, that you enjoy, that you feel that work. If you're feeling some effect from acupuncture, if you're feeling some effect from chiropractic or meditation or mantra or yoga, then make that a priority for you. It's like I said a minute ago, it's a necessity for your well-being, so you can continue to do the things you want to do. Hi, Susan. Welcome. Feel free to throw some questions in the comments if you have them. So we've been talking about holistic versus alternative versus integrative and what those mean. And just now I started talking about holistic stress management techniques and how we can integrate them and how we need to integrate them. So the first rule of thumb is to find things that you like. You know, if someone else likes acupuncture but you don't, then it's not going to work as well, because you'll have a reservation or a concern, even a fear, and you're just doing it because somebody else says it works. And that's not as effective. It won't be as deep an effect or a healing as it would be if you really loved it, right? So find things that you enjoy, and it can be just simply walking outside or visiting a neighbor, visiting a friend, calling a friend. Sometimes these techniques are not complicated, right? So whether you like reflexology or full body massage, any of those things will help, number one, improve your immune system, number two, relax you and your thoughts and your whole system, and that will allow you to heal, repair on your own. The body is very amazing. When I refer to body now, I'm referring to body, mind, spirit. And so one of the biggest things in holistic work is recognizing that your thoughts and feelings are a very, if not the major important player in symptom management. Every symptom, as our guru, if you will, I call her the guru, Louise Hay, years ago, wrote, "You can heal your life." It looks backwards to me, but hopefully that's worked for you. And this is a workbook to help you recognize where your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are coming from, how you were conditioned, and I call it social genetics, how you were conditioned growing up to manage thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And then to recognize them as patterns, and then you have a choice. You actually have a choice to continue in that pattern or to change your pattern. So in the back of the book, she has the list, the magic list of most every symptom you can think of, a probable thought pattern or cause. In this case, the causes are all thoughts. And then the affirmation to help you reprogram that thought. An amazing book. When I first got it, I did not open it for 5 years. I wasn't ready. But when I did, I tested it on my clients. It was 99%. They could pinpoint exactly the occurrence, the situation that was going on when a symptom began, and thought process, thought pattern was exactly what they were thinking at the time. So it was very magical to me, and it still is magical when I can help people realize what was happening at the time the symptom began. Sometimes the symptom disappears immediately. So thoughts are things. And if you've been to my place as a client, you will see my crazy what was I thinking chart. So the beginning process of learning your body, mind, spirit is to pay attention to your thoughts. What are you thinking and when? And monitoring that, not in a negative way, but monitoring so that you can learn and noticing what thoughts you have that might create or contribute to certain symptoms. So let's say you're having a lot of angry thinking. We all do it. And suddenly you have joint pain. That's not a coincidence. So recognizing thought, and then what do? So I have this acronym back here. Now what, right? You stop, you breathe, reflect, choose, affirm to yourself, and then appreciate that you've done something about it. And we'll be talking more about that, but I just wanted to throw that in there. As a holistic approach, one of the biggest things I recommend is monitoring your thoughts and seeing how they interplay with any symptoms that you're having. Louise Hay is highly recommended for learning more about what your thoughts are doing, and that those thoughts patterns have contributed to sometimes a lot of chronic labels, arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, all come from a stress response that's unmitigated, right? And that's a whole nother chapter to talk about, right? Any questions on holistic versus integrative versus alternative at the time? Anybody else on? Nobody else on? Susan, did you have any questions? No? Okay. I could go on and on, but I don't want to bog it down. Holistic, integrative, and alternative. There's hardly any alternative. When I first started on this side of the fence, I worked at what was called an alternative center at the time. And that was the owner's choosing to call it alternative. And we actually did an alternative procedure there. It was infusion of sodium EDTA for the use of heart disease and circulation issues in adults. And in this state, EDTA was only used for lead poisoning in children. So it was a little freaky for a while, but it was amazing to see the results. Sodium EDTA is a natural food preservative that's found in salad dressings a lot. I'm sure it's in other things, but it's definitely in salad dressing. I remember that. And people were using that treatment, adults, as an alternative option to their treatment, or they had no other options left for treatment in the standard medical treatments. Anyway, so that for them was strictly an alternative approach because there was no other options, and they wanted something more healthy. And it did work in a lot of ways, but it required a lot of monitoring of blood values. So, for example, sodium EDTA at the time, if you're using it for adults, lowers your magnesium in your blood. So the blood values had to be monitored. And as I said, that doesn't exist anymore. The center closed quite some time ago. But in that part of my life, I met and learned a lot about the alternative and complementary therapies in Syracuse. I met chiropractors, I met iridologists, stuff I had never heard of. So, and our physician had invented his own nutraceuticals and studied a lot about the gut biome and how that affects our health. So that was an invaluable experience for me. And from there, actually, is where I chose to go into holistic nursing. So that was an amazing experience, learning the difference. Again, the ways that treatments are used are more is more the meaning of holistic or alternative. So you can take acupuncture, like I said, and use it as an alternative, or you can use it as an integrative treatment and use both your medical treatment and acupuncture as part of your treatment plan. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's how you use it that counts. And that's how the definitions kind of get mixed up, I think. So it's not just about eating a bunch of nutrients, though, that's for sure. It's one of my biggest things. Here's a bunch of pills, you'll feel better. And sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But my thing on that is you have to have it bioavailable. If it's not able to dissolve and get into your bloodstream fast enough before it goes out in the elimination system, then it's really not doing you much good. So I go back to my other caveat is if you like it and you feel some effects, then keep doing it. If you're doing it because someone else tells you to and you don't really feel some effect, then it may not be for you, right? Wow, very good. So I'll continue to watch for questions and comments later. If there are any, just feel free to message me. And I'll see you next week on Just What the Holistic Nurse Ordered. Thanks for watching. Bye.